Hi everyone, in this video we're going to go over how to host a WordPress site. WordPress is a free and open source content management system, so a CMS, and it's a really popular tool for people without any coding experience who want to build their own website and have their own content management system. WordPress comes in two forms. There's WordPress.org and WordPress.com, and the main differences between these two versions is the way your site is hosted. WordPress.com is an all-in-one hosting platform solution, and that provides you with a turnkey solution, while WordPress.org is self-hosted, as in you take care of it yourself, but the software that's used to run these two platforms are exactly the same. So with WordPress.com, your custom domain, your premium hosting, security, backups, that's all included, and as secure as WordPress.com, and it's self-hosted. So you can choose between different themes, install your own custom theme, integrate your site with Facebook and other social media networks, and you can have premium support via chat and live channel as well. WordPress.org is where you'll need to find a host and perform backups and maintenance yourself. Similarly with WordPress.com, you can install your own custom themes, build your own with PHP and CSS, and install your own plugins, things like that. So which version is right for you? So choosing between WordPress.com and .org depends on what functionality you need it from. So when it comes to hosting your own WordPress site, so self-hosted WordPress.org, it does require some technical knowledge and places more responsibility on you as the publisher. You can download the WordPress software for free at WordPress.org. So just if you go onto the website here, and just by clicking here you get WordPress, but you have to install it on a web server before it will work, and you'll need to kind of research your own kind of themes and plugins. There are lots of hosting providers that offer a one-click installation of WordPress. Some examples are Bluehost. So Bluehost offers 70% off on hosting for WordPress and WordPress stores, and all of their plans include one-click WordPress installation. So if you go into WordPress and go into WordPress hosting, you can view their plans, and you can see you have the one-click hosting WordPress installation, meaning that you don't need to download the software and install it on a server yourself. You just need to buy one of the plans, and WordPress will already be set up as well. Another hosting platform that involves one-click install WordPress is DreamHost. So DreamHost are another really reliable, fast hosting solutions, and their plans do come with a one-click WordPress install. It also comes with one-click staging as well if you ever need that, but that just basically means that as soon as you purchase a plan, it comes, WordPress.org comes already installed with it. Additionally, there's lots of web development agencies that specialize in building WordPress sites, so they can manage that for you. WordPress.com is a little bit different. You don't actually have to download any software, pay for any hosting, or manage a web server. You can just create your content and let WordPress.com manage it for you. So the way it works is you will have the ability to use any kind of theme that you want, or even build your own theme if you need to. You can upload any plugins as well. And the way it works is you publish the site on WordPress.com, and WordPress.com, the team at WordPress.com kind of manage it for you. WordPress.com is free, which is a good choice for if you're, like a hobby blogger, if you're just starting out your blog. It's free up to 33 GB of space. After that, you'll need to switch to a paid plan for more storage space, and you don't have to worry about any kind of backups. WordPress.com take care of that as well. To look at WordPress.com's pricing plans, all you need to do is go into WordPress.com and type in pricing plans to view what their plans are, and you would just pick one that's best suited for you. So you can see WordPress.com plans and pricing. So they have separate plans for free, personal, premium, business, and e-commerce. So the free plan is obviously free. You get one website and you get about 1 GB of storage, and unmetered connection depending on how many visitors you have per month. You don't get the free domain name. So with the rest of the plans, you get 1 year free domain with their plans, but with the free you don't get that one. All of them you get free SSL, and things like CDN, dedicated IP, and data backups you don't have on either of the plans. So that's a few of the cons that come with it. In terms of storage, 1 GB is good for smaller blog websites. If you find you need more space, you can upgrade at any time to personal or premium. So it is a bit limited. Some of the several limitations of the free WordPress can come as quite a big disadvantage. So with the free website, they all place ads, so your users will see those ads and you don't make any money off them. So if you don't want your users to see the ads, then you can upgrade to a paid WordPress plan. So one of these ones basically. You can upload your own plugins. So free users get built-in Jetpack, and business users can use can install from a selection of compatible plugins. So WordPress.com VIP lets you install plugins, and that starts from about £5,000 per month. You can upload your own custom themes. So free plan can only install from a limited number of free themes. Premium and business plans can select premium themes, and there are limited customization options for the free version. Premium and business plan can use some CSS, but you can't actually upload your own theme and your own design. Free WordPress.com sites come with like a WordPress.com branded subdomain, so your domain will actually be www.yourwebsite.wordpress.com. So that's with the free plan. If you use any of the premium domains, you'll need to use a paid plan in order to remove the .wordpress part. The other risk factor that you have whenever you do use WordPress.com is that they can delete your site at any time if they think it violates their terms of service. So you can just suddenly have your site taken away from you and deleted, which can be a bit of a risk. And also you can't build any membership type websites with WordPress. So if you're wanting to sell memberships or subscriptions or anything like that, you can't do that with WordPress.com. You also can't sell ads on your website as well. So ads help you kind of monetize your site. If you're on a high traffic site, then you're more incentivized you might want to start placing ads. But if you're on a WordPress.com plans, you're not allowed to do that anyway. If you do have a high traffic site, you can apply for their advertising program called Word Ads. So you'll have to share your revenue with them. But premium business plans can only use Word Ads. You'll need to use one of their plans. So you can see that there's quite a few limitations with WordPress.com. When you're on the free personal, or even if you're on the premium plan, there's still some limitations there. So depending on what type of website you're having, if it's just for like a hobby, general kind of website brochure build that you want, then the WordPress.com might be enough for you. I would recommend going for one of their paid plans to remove their ads. There's really no point in having ads across your site if you're not making any money off them, and also you can't control what kind of ads they are, so you'll need to do that yourself. So if it is a smaller website, then maybe one of the personal premium plans might work. If you're wanting an e-commerce website, while you do have really good storage with the e-commerce, you're paying a lot for not a lot of features or functionality. So if you are planning to do like an e-commerce website, I wouldn't recommend WordPress.com or their hosting solutions. Instead, I'd go back to WordPress.org and use a hosting platform that is dedicated to e-commerce and WooCommerce websites. And there are loads of hosting platforms out there that are dedicated to giving good service and good quality for WordPress and specifically WooCommerce websites that are a lot more value for your money. So if you're running a little bit more complex website, then the other option is to go with WordPress.org. So WordPress.org basically lets you run the WordPress software, and WordPress.org is actually used to power over 43% of websites on the internet. So unlike WordPress.com, you own your website and all its data, so your site won't be suddenly turned off because you might have been violating some kind of terms of service. It's your website and you are in full control. You can add free, paid, and custom WordPress plugins and themes. And you can customize your website design exactly as you need it. You can use WordPress themes. So, for example, if you go down to WordPress.org's website and go into themes, you can see there's plenty of themes that you can go for, all popular. You can also do paid as well. So you can design it exactly how you like, or you can just fully create a custom theme yourself. If you have the technical background, you can make your own theme as well. You can actually make money from your WordPress site, but because you're free to run your own ads without sharing your revenue with anyone, depending on what ad platform that you use, obviously. You can use self-hosted WordPress to create your online store, sell your digital products, accept payments, deliver, ship the goods, things like that. And you can create membership sites as well. The cons of WordPress.org is not as much as WordPress.com. So like all websites, you will need web hosting, and this is where essentially where website files are stored on the internet. Depending on what web hosting platform you use, the price can be about $3 to $10 a month. But as your website grows and gets more traffic, the web hosting plan costs will increase as expected, but then you should be making enough money to recover that cost anyway. You will need to install WordPress. However, as mentioned before, there's lots of companies out there that offer one-click WordPress installation if you don't feel like you have the technical skills to do that yourself. There's also lots of tutorials out there as well, and we also have one on how to install WordPress.com or WordPress on your own local computer as well. Because it's self-hosted, you are responsible for your own updates, so you'll need to make sure that your site is updated with their plugins and themes and things like that. But again, there's lots of hosting platforms out there that take care of that for you. You're responsible for your own backups, and again, you can do that yourself by installing a plugin like Updraft. Updraft is a WordPress backup plugin, and there's free versions, there's also paid versions for it, but in its basic form, you can use it to create daily backups and back them directly to your Dropbox, Google Drive, or just save it to your computer. Other than that, there are also, again, lots of web hosting companies that do the backups for you, mostly on a daily basis and sometimes on a weekly basis. If you are wanting your hosting platform to handle the backups for you, you want to make sure you choose a hosting platform that will do daily backups, because if you ever have an issue and you need to roll back to a previous version, you don't want to do like a 4-day or 5-day outdated backup. You want to have a daily backup, so you can minimize losing as much work as possible. The real cost of WordPress.org and website varies between what you're trying to build. If it's a simple blog portfolio website, it'll cost less to host versus a membership site or an e-commerce site. There are also other factors like free templates, premium templates, custom templates, things like that. So for a lot of users, we would recommend to use WordPress.org. In terms of how to host the WordPress site once you have it ready, one of the hosting platforms we mentioned is Bluehost. So Bluehost has been around for a really long time, and they are considered experts in WordPress hosting. They're actually one of the official website hosters for WordPress website, and they do hosting for general WordPress websites and also WooCommerce. So you know that there's specific managed hosting for that. In order to get to pay for hosting, what you want to do first is view their pricing and plans. So you want to go to WordPress, and depending on what kind of website you have, you want to do WordPress websites and online stores, WordPress hosting, or WooCommerce. You can see with their WordPress hosting, they've got quite a few plans. and you would just go through each of these features and see which one you prefer. Whether that's the basic, plus, pro. The main differences between all of them is how many sites you can assign this plan to. So with all of them, apart from the basic, there's unlimited sites, whereas the basic is just one site. And the other differences is the storage. So the lowest amount of storage you can have is 10 GB SSD storage, which is a generous amount of storage and also really fast as well. And then you've got the pro, which gives you up to 100, again, a really generous amount of storage. Another thing you want to think about with hosting is what are the benefits they include. So with Bluehost, they offer things like free CDN, free SSL certificates. Certain plans offer free domain privacy, and what that means is gives you more control over the display of the whois data and adds layers of protection against spamming. So if someone were to look up the whois data of who owns a certain domain, it'll be replaced with anonymized contact information. So your information is private and protected from being mined or used for other purposes like unsolicited marketing or identity theft, things like that. And other benefits that might include that you might need is staging sites. So staging sites are used to essentially clone a live version of your website. The reason why you might need to do this is that because it enables you to test any change or major new features that you plan to implement in a secure environment. So for example, if there's a new plugin that you want to install, or if there's a new bit of code that you want to add to your website but you're not sure if it'll be compatible or go along well, then what you can do is you can turn on the staging site, do all of the changes on that site, see how the website reacts. If it's all fine, then you know you're good to go and to do the same change onto your live site. If there's issues, you can fix those issues on the staging site, and that way your actual live site isn't being disrupted. Customers and clients can still go onto your website. Any issues and errors that occur will only be on the staging site. So if you know that you're going to be making a lot of changes to your website, changes that you're not sure about how it would react to your site, then you want to maybe make sure that the plan you choose does come with some kind of staging site access as well. Another really important feature that you want to think about whenever you're picking a hosting for your hosting for your WordPress website is the customer support. You want to make sure that the customer support is readily available and that the people giving you the support are well equipped and knowledgeable to help you with your WordPress solution needs. So Bluehost, for example, are really reputable in terms of the customer service. A lot of the reviews, people do get solutions out of them, and they've got a high customer satisfaction rate. The other thing you want to think about is their own kind of resources and knowledge base. So Bluehost themselves have a lot of documentation on websites, how to manage websites, not specifically just websites in general. They've got lots of resources for you to use, specifically for WordPress and other types of websites as well. They also have their own kind of blog as well, and it's good for then if you have any questions that are frequently asked, small fixes, you can always go onto their forum as well. But they also have a 24/7 customer support. So when you're choosing your hosting, you want to think about when it comes to customer service and support, would you need someone that will have 24/7 readily available support, or are you okay with if there's like some kind of time delay as well? There are some platforms out there that do offer customer support. However, there's sort of times in which you can get an agent. So sometimes they're between in the mornings or in the afternoon. So if you are someone that require a lot of technical support, then you want to make sure you pick a hosting plan that includes 24/7 available customer support. So once you've selected a plan, so for example, you select this one here, what you want to do is click on select, and you want to make sure that the plan that you select is has the billing cycle that you want. So for example, on Bluehost they do 12 months, but they also do a 36-month billing cycle. You'll notice that with the 36-month billing cycle, there's more savings. So the longer your billing cycle, the more savings that there is. And a lot of web hosting companies offer that. They offer different billing cycles for different plans. So you'd select the billing cycle that you want, and then just follow through the procedure next. So for Bluehost, you can get a free domain, and you just use the domain that you want, and then you just need to create an account, do your first name, last name, address information, and package information. So this is just an overview of what you're paying for, and then your credit card number, and then just submit. So that's how you would purchase a website through here. Another web hosting platform that's really good for hosting is SiteGround. So SiteGround also are a official WordPress recommended web hosting platform. They offer really good affordable prices for their plans, and they offer expert customer service as well. If you click on hosting and go for WordPress hosting, you can see they've got 3 different kinds of plans, and similar to Bluehost, they require a different types of features and things like that. You can see with this plan though, or these plans, there's different kinds of specs. So with the most basic, you'll get one website that you can assign to the plan. You get the free domain, free SSL, free CDN, free email, things like that. And then you also get the customer service as well. And with the GoGeek, so the most premium hosting plan, you get unlimited websites assigned, more storage space, you get all of the benefits as the others, except you also get priority support, higher tier of resources, free private DNS, and things like that. Depending on what kind of site you have, so if you are a high traffic website, then you want to make sure that the web hosting plan that you have will allocate enough resources to ensure that everything runs smoothly, there's no slowness of your website or anything like that. So things like the GoGeek and the Grow Big, obviously you get the unmetered traffic, and you also get 30% faster PHP to kind of cut your load time by quite a lot. Depending on what website you have, an e-commerce website is always going to need more functionality. It's always going to need more resources. It tends to be more expensive to cover those costs, but you want to ensure that you get a free uninterrupted plan so that everything runs smoothly. The really good thing about these plans, and most other WordPress providers or hosting providers do this, is they offer a 30-day money-back guarantee. So SiteGround is 30 days money-back, so you can test out the hosting, test out their support, and see how you feel about using their hosting. And if you're not satisfied, you get a full refund at the end of it. Another hosting provider called HostGator. HostGator is another powerful WordPress hosting site, and they offer a 45-day money-back guarantee. That's a lot higher than what most hosting providers would give you. Most of the time it is 30 days, but the fact that with HostGator you get 45 days, it's a lot more. So that's another thing that you might want to consider whenever you're choosing a hosting provider as well. And then similar to Bluehost, if you want to get started, all you need to do is go through each of the plans and pick one that you prefer. So for example, if it's hatchling, baby, business, whatever it is, you just click on buy now, and then fill in the domain information, account information, billing info, and then finally pay for the plan that you have. Some hosting providers, HostGator being one of them, another one is DreamHost, they will have a lot of upselling, so they will try and upsell some more features and products that you can add to your website that may add some useful functionality, and you can add that sort of in the checkout. So for example, this is the HostGator checkout, and you can see in the last section there's add additional services. So there's additional things that you can add that'll add to your total cost for your hosting. Things like securing your website with SiteLock Essentials. So the HostGator does come with SSL certificates, but you can add another layer of protection with SiteLock. You can get a professional email for another sort of $6 a month, so you need to check the costing for all of these. You can set up backups as well, and again this will add an additional cost. And then you've got HostGator SEO tools, and some of these are free, so this one comes free as well. Some of these you can get around, so for example with the backup, if you install Updraft, which is a free plugin, you can do your own daily backups yourself. You don't need to worry about having it as an additional cost. Some hosting providers, like WP Engine, do daily backups at no extra cost. It's included with your plan. Another hosting provider like DreamHost, they do daily backups for the premium plans, and with the daily plans and with the basic plans they do weekly backups, but again you can get around that by adding a plugin like Updraft to do your own daily backups. So it's up to you if you want those services. They always, if you're not sure, you can always remove them and add them later, or you can add them now and remove them later if you realize you don't actually need it. So it's just another thing to kind of keep track of whenever you are buying a new hosting plan, just to see if you need the actual hosting additional services or anything like that. Another really popular hosting platform I want to talk about is WP Engine, and WP Engine are specifically for WordPress websites. They don't host any other kind of website, they just host WordPress type websites, whether that's WordPress basic brochure build, e-commerce website, booking platforms, things like that. It's all very central on WordPress, and this is really good if you are a complete newcomer to WordPress and you definitely want to make sure that the support you're receiving is expert and really professional. You can be rest assured knowing that the support that you'll get from any support agent, everyone is well equipped to handle any kind of WordPress related issue, whether that's on your website, as part of your hosting, things like that. Another really good feature of WP Engine is that you can really customize the hosting plan that you select. So if you go into WP Engine and go into pricing, you can see all of the managed business plans that they have and the hosting plans that they have as well. So if you have a managed WordPress website hosting plan, you can really sort of maximize speed and performance SEO and see whatever the plans backups that they have. But then also within each of these plans that you have, you can build your own plan. So for example, the e-commerce solutions for WooCommerce. So this is for any website that you have that involves WooCommerce. They start off at £19 a month, and this is what you're getting with that. You're getting the managed WordPress hosting, 2 times fast page speed with Evercache, eliminating any cart fragments, auto plugin updates, and one-click store creation with a theme. And then you're also getting that for one site only, for sites that have up to 25,000 visitors per month, 10 GB storage, which is a lot of storage in general, and then 50 GB bandwidth. And if you wanted to edit that, for example, say the number of sites you get with this is one site, but maybe you need it for 2 sites, you can actually add another additional site for £13, and that'll increase your price obviously. If you use this drag bar here, you can see that you can have the professional version of the e-commerce solution plans that gives you up to 3 sites, up to 75,000 visits a month, 15 GB storage, and 125 GB as well. And that's the 3 sites, and then you can, on top of that, you can add additional sites as well. So you can kind of build this plan out, and you're not paying for anything extra. You're paying for exactly what you need. This plan goes from growth to scale, and with every kind of upgrade, you get sort of more sites, more visits, and more kind of storage as well. And in terms of the additional features that you can add an extra layer of security for another £39. Again, that's optional, and you can also have site monitoring. So depending on your own technical experience, you can do your own site monitoring. You can just check for any errors in plugins, themes, things like that, or you can let WP Engine handle that themselves. And the good thing about it is that you can also get a custom plan for you. So this includes more than 30 sites, 400,000 visitors a month, 50 GB and 500 GB bandwidth. And then if there's anything else that you want to add to that, whether that's a certain amount of sites, or if you need more storage, it's something that you can talk directly to WP Engine and they can create a custom plan for you. So you're not paying for anything extra, unlike Bluehost or DreamHost, where there's a lot of kind of upselling and you might be paying for things that you don't need. So for example, the booking and reservations plugins that was on DreamHost, you might not need that, however you are paying for it. This might be a better option if you want a really tailored plan for you. And unlike most other hosting platforms, you get 60-day money back guarantee. As I mentioned earlier, most platforms will give you 30 days, HostGator gives you 45 days, but with WP Engine gives you a full 60 days. And if you scroll down, you can see more. and see a clearer laid out version of what you're getting with each plan. Whether that's how many sites you're including, visits per month, things like that, and all the additional features as well, and what's tagged as like an optional add-on, and what's tagged as a normal kind of add-on as well. Then you have the e-commerce plans as well, so you can switch between the two tabs and see which site plan goes for you as well. WP Engine are kind of known for their really good customer service. They've got an expert customer service team that can handle quite a lot of the WordPress issues that you might have, whether that's hosting or with your website in general. And it's really good because it is very specific to WordPress. Most other web companies only deal with, will also manage WordPress websites as well as other WordPress normal websites, or just websites that don't use WordPress at all. So sometimes it's easier to go for a hosting platform that only uses WordPress, so you know you're getting the most expert kind of customer care as well. Another WordPress hosting platform that only specifically deals in WordPress is Flywheel. So Flywheel is an all-in-one hosting agency platform that allows you to manage client WordPress websites in one place, and allows you to kind of earn your kind of recurring revenue and explore options and things like that. It provides a better experience than shared platforms. It's definitely an option to consider if you have the budget for it. It's a really popular WordPress managed hosting platform, and it's really easy. They offer a really fantastic set of features for both regular WordPress users and also for agencies. So depending on you yourself as a business, whether you're a customer and you only have one website just for yourself, or you're an agency, Flywheel can kind of cater to you both. One thing that they have is an optimized dashboard. So instead of a cPanel, you get kind of streamlined access to your dashboard, looking something like this. You can see, you can get detailed reports, see a kind of list on your site, one-click staging. Flywheel backs up your site nightly as well, so you don't need to worry about adding an additional plugin to do your own backups. Flywheel will take care of that for you. And they also require no manual installations. It has a comprehensive set of WordPress features, and most importantly, they have a really good support service as well. They offer several channels of communication, including plain email tickets, phone calls, social media, and live chat. For Flywheel, the most popular way for people to get in contact with them is their live chat, and people tend to wait kind of less than a minute to get connected to an actual person. As far as documentation goes, Flywheel provides its users with over hundreds of resources and blogs, whether that's in the form of ebooks, video libraries, case studies, things like that. So they have over hundreds of articles kind of covering everything from WordPress-specific issues to billing questions, hosting questions, things like that. But if you don't get anything out of the help articles, they have 24/7 in-app support as well. So depending on what kind of customer you are, if you are an agency, this might be better for you, as they offer quite a lot of pricing for websites. So for example, with the WordPress hosting plans, they come with the tiny plan, which is the one WordPress site. So this might be better if you're just like a hobby blog, or if you just have the one website. You get 5 GB storage and 20 GB bandwidth, which can be a little bit less with the storage. So you can always upgrade to the starter, which is about £25 per month. And again, that's just back to the WordPress site. They also have a specific hosting plan for an agency, about $300 a month, $250 a month. But that includes 2 months free. Each of their plans includes the first 2 months free. Depending on the size of your agency, you have up to 30 sites. But again, if you are a bigger agency, you might want to go for their growth suite. And you can see they have a bit more custom plans as well, for starting at 50 sites, 80 GB storage, 750 GB bandwidth, and things like that. With the custom plans, you will need to get in contact with them and actually talk through your needs, and they can help you customize a plan to everything that you exactly need. with Flywheel, they do have a lot of options, and they are really good, especially if you want a custom built plan. But you just need to think about yourself as a business, how much support you need, how much storage, how much bandwidth you need as well. Again, with the tiny plan, 5 GB storage might be a little less. So I would recommend starting off with the starter. The first two plans only offer the single WordPress site. They can be a little bit more expensive compared to the others hosting platforms that we've seen so far. Overall, it's a good suite of WordPress-specific options. They have great support service, and they're very fast, stable performance across all of their sites. And they have a lot of advanced features for freelancers or agencies. But it is a higher price tag than some of its competitors, especially if you plan to have more than one site per plan. There are cheaper alternatives out there, but Flywheel does have really good customer support. So if that's important to you, then this might be another platform that you might want to consider. When it comes to hosting your WordPress website, you can see there's a lot of things to consider. First thing being, should you use WordPress.org versus WordPress.com? And if you have decided to go with WordPress.org, within that, then there's more other things to consider. Most importantly being customer reviews and levels of support. Support quality is one of the major factors to consider. Especially if you're a beginner, you'll have lots of questions and concerns when you first begin working with a new WordPress site. So having access to 24/7 support service will really help you with that. It's also really important to note that the previous customers are also finding good support services as well. So if you're unsure which hosting platform to go to, definitely look at people's customers' reviews on Trustpilot. Reviews that a great way to kind of recognize false customer reviews, or if there's any reviews that have a lot of number kind of buzzwords or seem kind of very promotional. If something is highly negative, but they don't go into detail about why that person was so dissatisfied, might be a sort of false customer reviews. But you should focus on the reviews that provide a kind of detailed account of why that particular customer had that experience. And then again, just to make sure that you value the support team's level of expertise, not just about hosting, but about WordPress itself. It's good that because they should be able to help you with your hosting platforms, but sometimes you'll have issues with WordPress itself. So it's good to know that the hosting provider that you have is competent in WordPress issues as well. You also want to make sure that the hosting provider that you pick has the resources and will have the adequate performance level for your website. As mentioned before, websites that have e-commerce, some kind of booking functionality, or membership sites will require a lot more resources. So you want to make sure that the hosting provider that you have can cater to that. A higher level of overall performance can help you increase your revenue for your e-commerce site. So in order to make sure that your site maintains that high level of performance, you have a WordPress hosting provider that can keep up with that as well. Another thing you also want to make sure is cost, so how much you're willing to spend on hosting. There's no single amount that you can expect. As you can see from the hosting companies that we've seen so far, they're quite varied. But you also want to make sure you're taking the steps to ensure that you're not overpaying. Looking at things, making sure you look at all the features that they offer, and making sure that what they're offering is something that you're using. So as we've seen before, there are some hosting providers that will add to your site that you don't need. Things like additional plugins or additional functionality. That's why maybe a plugin hosting platform like WP Engine would be good, because you can really customize it to what you need in terms of site size, how many sites that you need, and things like that. And you want to make sure you're clear on any kind of hidden fees, additional costs for services that are required when signing up for payment. Some hosts offer plans as low as like $2.99 per month, $3.95 per month. But when it comes to WordPress hosting, you kind of get what you pay for. A lot of common problems that people have is not being to get in touch with the service provider or the support team, especially if you're don't have a lot of technical knowledge and you run into some kind of issue, it can be quite frustrating if there's no one available to kind of help, or if you have to wait a certain time before your ticket gets processed and things like that. Another issue could be slow overall performance, and while it can be costly a little bit to pay for a hosting provider that provides the high performance, it is worth it kind of in the long run, because realistically, users aren't going to go on your website if it's slow or if it's sluggish, and things like that. So you do want to make sure that the site plan that you're paying for has enough resources to accommodate your site. Another thing you want to make sure is that the host provider that you have has compatibility with common plugins and themes. So for example, for WP Engine, they do have a list of disallowed plugins. So WP Engine do disallow plugins from being installed from your site. This is usually because some of the plugins that are being installed, WP Engine already have them as part of their server packages as well. Or sometimes they kind of negatively impact your performance. So they are focused on fast and secure hosting. So some plugins can get in the way of that, but they do have a list of all the plugins that they have that they don't allow. Popular plugins like W3 Total Cache, backup plugins like VersionPress, WTDP backups, and they've got reasons as to why they disallow them as well. So if you know already if there's certain plugins that you need to use, it might be a good idea to make sure that you check if the hosting provider that you pick will allow you to install these plugins. If you don't see anything on their website, you can always submit a ticket. All of these hosting providers have a chat form where you can talk to someone before purchasing your plan and ask away any questions that you have as well. But that's another thing that to make sure of. Another thing to make sure of is if you have, for example, a WooCommerce website, you want to make sure that the hosting provider that you pick meets the minimum requirements. And you can do that by looking up what WooCommerce minimum requirements are. So you can see WooCommerce on their website, what they recommend in terms of the server, what PHP version they recommend, MySQL version, what kind of WordPress limit they prefer as well. And this is something you can check with the service provider before you purchase a plan. Do you meet those minimum requirements? But there are some hosting providers that provide hosting packages specifically for WordPress. Hosting providers such as DreamHost have WordPress hosting, but they also have specific WooCommerce hosting as well. So you know that this is a hosting provider that really understands different requirements for different hosting sites. It's a good sign that they have separate packages for WooCommerce, as an e-commerce website would have much different requirements and more resources required than a basic kind of brochure build website. So you can always do it that way as well, making sure that the provider that you pick has that kind of functionality as well. Once you've picked a hosting plan, the process is very similar to between all of them. You pick the plan that you want and you click on either buy now, sign up now, purchase plan, and either you connect your domain. You can choose a domain later, or you can register a new domain or have a new domain. If you register a new domain, it'll just ask you to type in the name of the domain that you have. Or if you have a domain already, you just type in the name of the domain, and then it'll transfer your domain to your DreamHost account, or whatever account that you've picked. Or you can always choose a domain later. And then all you need to do is fill in some billing information, and fill in some credit card information, account information as well. And you can see towards the end, they should show you any additional options if that is something that they offer. So you can see some of them have, install a WooCommerce free, a website builder free, things like that. You want to take a really good look at it, make sure you're not paying for anything extra that you don't need. And if there is something there that you think you might need, you are selecting it as well. And then you just submit the order. If you look at another hosting platform, for example, like WP Engine, you would go into their pricing page or product page and pick a plan that you prefer. So for example, if we go for the e-commerce Woo selection and we go for the professional plan and say we want the site monitoring as well, you just click on Buy Now. And you can see we pick sort of if you want the annual or monthly. And again, you tend to have more savings with the longer billing plan. But then you can pick the add-ons that you have as well, and you can see the pricing just beside it, how much each of the add-ons would cost, and how many additional sites if you want that as well. And similar to the previous DreamHost and all the other hosting platforms that we've seen, just need to type in our account information, our billing information, and then we finally have a domain and a plan that's specifically for us as well. The process for all of them is very similar. So you just pick the plan, pick any add-ons, make sure you're not selecting any add-ons that you don't need, and then just fill in your account and billing information. So yeah, when it comes to hosting a WordPress site, there's lots of factors to consider. So key questions you want to ask yourself is the site secure? Is it reliable? Who will maintain the site? And what is their support like? And your budget as well. These are all things you need to consider. We have previous videos linked below on the top WordPress platforms, WordPress hosting platforms, both for normal brochure build sites and also for e-commerce. So if you want to check those out. Also another thing that you want to consider is if you want a developer or agency hosting. So if you've hired a developer or agency to build your site, they can offer hosting with the build. This can be great, especially if they've included a maintenance package at a price that you can afford. Just make sure that you understand what your commitment to their service is, whether you own your domain registration, whether the service includes anything extra like making future edits, how to export your content if you ever need to, and their pricing. And then you have the managed service hosting service as well, which is like a hybrid between developer agency hosting and sort of out of the box hosting. So managed hosting doesn't include building or editing your site for you. It usually takes care of maintenance, regular security scans, updating your plugins and themes, creating backups. It's a great option to take the weight of site maintenance off your shoulders so you can focus on creating good content and for your site and your audience and things like that. With all of the hosting platforms that we've seen so far, they all have the ability to kind of submit a ticket as well before you even buy something. So if you have any questions at all, you can always talk to their support and chat with them and decide, and they can give you advice as to whether their hosting platform would suit you or not. Whatever questions that you have, if you're not sure about something on WordPress and things like that, you can always talk to each of their hosting platforms and solutions and things like that. So you can really take your time with it and really ask all the questions that you have. And it's a good way to gauge their customer service as well, how good the advice is that they're giving you, how quick they are with their responses, things like that. If you are happy with the advice they're giving you, then you can kind of rest assured that the support that you're getting is that the support that you're getting is sort of very knowledgeable, expert, and like competent. So I definitely recommend trying that before you go and buy your hosting platform as well, especially if you're a beginner and you decide that you want to move the majority of the technical side of hosting to your hosting provider. Some hosting providers give you their own kind of WordPress builders. So with WordPress.com, for example, they give you a builder that's kind of very front end. It's used to kind of for you to build your own website easily without a lot of help, and you can sort of design it yourself. Depending on what builder that you use, it can be severely limited. But it's a great way to, if you're first starting out and you're not sure where to go with your website or anything like that. So WordPress.com have their own WordPress builder. GoDaddy have their own WordPress page builder as well, where you can sort of drag and drop certain elements as well. And they also have lots of good articles as well on how to build your site with the builder as well. Other builders include builders like Elementor and Divi. And you want to make sure, again, you have the you choose a hosting platform that can accommodate for that. So for example, with Elementor, which is a really popular page builder, you can see on their website what their requirements are, server requirements are, and what kind of plugins and themes are needed. So for example, you can use basic server requirements to run WordPress. If you click into that, you can see that the basic requirements are, PHP version 7.4 or greater, MySQL or MariaDB 10.3 or greater, and HTTPS support. And that's the most basic. But sometimes you want to make sure that the plan you have can allocate enough resources for builders, as it can take up a lot of resources. Another thing that they mention is that your server should be using a PHP version that meets or exceeds Elementor's requirements. If you click into that, you can see on the Elementor website the minimum requirements and what they recommend, and that's something you can take to your hosting provider, your potential hosting provider, and say, I have Elementor WordPress website. This is what their minimum requirements are, and this is what they recommend. Is this something you can accommodate for? And they should be able to tell you what they can and cannot do and what they recommend. So that's another thing, plugin compatibility as well. That's important to make sure of. So overall, lots to think about. Once you have decided whether you want WordPress.org or WordPress.com, it's really easy to then just go in and make a decision as to which hosting provider that you want.